All right, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. I'm your host, Chuck Leonard. Sitting here with me now, my good buddy, Michael Bogart. What's going on?
Hi,
How
Chuck.
are you? What's happening?
Well, first I wanted to expand your repertoire of jokes.
Oh, you have a new joke
So I have
for
a
me.
joke for you.
People tell me I need new ones.
It has to. Have you heard about the agnostic who was dyslexic?
The agnostic that was dyslexic. No, I have not.
He stayed awake at night wondering if there really was a dog.
You get it? Because
Dog,
he's dyslexic. Dog and God.
Dog and God.
So
See, it goes back. It's backwards. So yeah. I thought that was
That
about.
was a good one.
That was a good
That's
one
a
for
good one.
you,
I'm just
Chuck,
letting it
because of
marinate.
the intellectual
Yeah, I'm
crowd
getting
that you
used to
have
it.
here. Anyway, so that's my little personal gift for your upcoming birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's okay if I use it.
Yes, I'm just passing it on. I didn't make it up. Anyway, but I did want to talk about something a little more controversial than I normally do. So we may be stepping out on the
let's
thin
do
ice
that.
here
Yeah,
today.
let's get controversial.
Well, it has to do with, as you know, I teach as an adjunct professor at various places, and I'm just starting another class in comparative religion, which is what I've taught for many, many years. And I always have my students do an assignment on their own religious background and that sort of thing. And a number of my students, and I found the trend is increasing over the years, would say that they were raised with no religion. Their parents said, I'm going to let you decide for yourself, and so on. And
What my parents did was there was a bus that came by every Sunday morning, and that gave them a break. So that's how I got to go to church.
So they just loaded you on it.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading something in conjunction with that. Have you heard of Richard Dawkins? He's the British atheist that rescues religious people from the perils of religion.
Is he famous?
He's pretty famous in some circles.
He takes people out of church?
Yeah, he boasts about all the pastors he's rescued from religion and so on. Anyway, he was saying, and he made this.
I wonder what his closing line is, or his opening line, for that matter.
He made the statement on the internet that that it is easier to recover from sexual abuse as a child than from being raised Catholic as a child. So, that was his big, and there's no research behind that. It's just Richard Dawkins' claim. And of course, he's used to making kind of comments like that. And when he gets challenged, he talks about how mean the religious people are because they don't agree with him. Anyway, all that to say, I wanted to take issue with the idea that it maybe is the best idea to just let your kids figure things out for themselves.
To not raise them with religion?
I would say, from my perspective, and again, I'm talking from my perspective, it is always better for an adult to wisely guide a child than to leave a child up to its own devices when it comes to important things in life.
I've been to a lot of different churches. I'm going to take one, the Mormon churches. They bring their kids in young. They have them up there testifying at 2 or 3 years old. So
Right.
I think that you probably get a lot of Mormon people who disagree with you.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing. I'm advocating that
Oh,
parents,
I thought you said not to.
I'm advocating that
Oh, wow.
parents wisely guide their children.
Oh, I thought you said wisely guide them, mean them don't take them.
No. Because it's almost like, in my opinion, it's like your child turns 16 and you say, here's the keys to the car.
Right.
Don't bother with driver's training. Now, I understand that some parents don't have much to guide with. They don't have any background themselves. That may be a little different. But for a person who has convictions of their own, to not guide a child in what they think is best, I think is an abdication of parental responsibility. And so, I usually don't say things quite that cut and dried on the show.
So you're saying to be a good parent, you should.
You should guide your children in terms of at least knowing how to navigate these issues.
A lot of people don't go to church.
That's
You're
right.
talking about the millennial, and not baby boomers that have grown up out of the church, and now you're expecting them to raise children and guide them through church. I just don't. It doesn't happen.
And like I said, I think if you don't have any background yourself, that might be a little more problematic. So I'm agreeing with you on that. But what the trend is saying is that it's child abuse to guide young people in terms of religious conviction. That's what Dawkins is saying, and that's what other people are beginning to say.
Because you're not giving them a real choice. You're training them. You're
You're
training them
exactly
to go to
right.
church rather than giving them the choice to go to church.
Correct.
And he's probably saying that you're training them and not giving them the choice to not know God.
Right. Exactly right. So that's what I'm actually taking issue with that point of view. I think that
I wonder
wise
what the
training.
I wonder what his age is that he's going after. Is he going 18 to 34? Is he?
No.
You know what's the big age that he's being successful
They're talking
with?
about any kind of guidance or training at any level, I think.
I'm just wondering what this Dawkins guy, what ages he's being successful with, and I think he's being successful with
The millennials,
Right.
of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was what I was trying to bring up today was this issue, and I would urge people. I mean, if you've got religious convictions, and I'm a Christian, so I'm making this fairly broad, but I think parental responsibility involves at least giving them the framework with which they can think through these issues. And I understand forcing and being overbearing, and that's one thing, and I'm not advocating that. But I am talking about giving your children the framework with which they can process religious issues. That is a parental, I think, necessity in these days.
Awesome. 45-minute Bible. Would this be a good thing to read with your kids?
I thank you for bringing that up. This is excellent.
Can you read it with your kids?
Yes. Well, this is written really more on a high school to college level, but it's certainly something that if you have a child that's interested at all at some older grade school or junior high age, I think you could begin to introduce this to them. It will not replace the Bible, but it will certainly be a good introduction to it.
Help them understand?
Exactly right. So again, aspectministries.com. You can order these things to the first person that emails me at mike@aspectministries.com and ask for one of these. I'll give a free copy away to you. And happy birthday, Chuck.
All right. You know what? I have one of these already, but I know someone that I want to give this to. I'm going to take this present and give it to someone else as a present, not as a re-gift, but just to let them know that they should be reading it.
Chuck, you're a good friend. Thank you so much.
Michael Bogart, check him out on the internet, aspectministries.com. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
We're taking a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stick around.